to children, you can't be all punishment. You have to show them that there is a love and a compassion in you as their parent. But then also you have to show them that there is a line that you cannot cross as your parent, that I must give you discipline from. So you have to balance the two, just like God balances with us. There's sometimes where we know God should just take us out of here. But instead, he gives us the compassion and the love and the grace that we need. But then there are some things where God disciplines us on because of our disobedience. I'm gonna go to you, Brother Carmine, on the panel. Talk to us on. I know you raised two wonderful young men, and I know also in your community and with your nieces and nephews, you've also been a father figure for a lot of our siblings, a lot of our children as well. Talk to us. How is your approach?
Man, dealing with this generation, I really realized that from a societal standpoint, they buy into a lot of the traditions of what's going on around the world, right? So,
and I'm sorry, you also were a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, like Pastor Libby, creative discipline had to become second nature, and not discipline in the traditional sense is what we are accustomed to. You know, get the belt, get the stick, get to this, get to that. I'm all about psychological warfare. So, um, us as brothers, we'll fight, and we've had arguments and disagreements, but we ain't never ever, none of us had no I hate you, I can't stand you kind of fights.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a particular time again during that season, but it was a bad season again with my two oldest boys, Carmine Jr. and Cameron, and they were fighting. These boys was literally trying to slug and knock each other head off. And I had been talking to them about how brothers don't fight each other. They're supposed to be there for each other. So I concocted this plan. I told them the next time I catch them fighting, since they're fighting each other like they're not related, I'm not their father, and I'm taking them to the homeless shelter. Caught them fighting. I called the homeless shelter, said, "Hey, this is Carmine Smith. My boys are fighting. I want to play a prank, and I need y'all to play along." They said, "Sure, Mr. Smith, come on down. You're a part of the community. You volunteer here. You do all this stuff. Your word is good as gold." So I take the boys. They thought I was playing at first. I take them to Walmart. I buy them a little $5 blanket. I said, "Well, pack your clothes." And they would start packing stuff. I said, "No, I bought all that. One pair of shoes, one pair of drawers, get the toothbrush, get the toothpaste." So they pack a bag. I take them to Walmart. I let them get 2 Lunchables and 2 drinks. So they looking like, what's going on with this food?
Right.
So we pull up to
that's that crazy parent.
Shelter. So we pull up to the homeless shelter. Yeah. And we pull up to the homeless shelter, and they looking at each other. I said, well, get out. Let's go. So I walk them in, and the young lady comes out and greets me. "Hey, Mr. Smith. Hey, how you doing? Are these the 2 gentlemen that you're talking about?" "Absolutely." So now the tears are flowing. Now they're crying. So I make them stand there. I said, now, hey, they take your lunch here. You might want to start eating them Lunchables. So they devouring the little Lunchables right there. So the lady says, "Well, Mr. Smith, before you leave," she said, "we don't know if they'll have another cover, or they might steal some covers or clothes from them." I said, "Well, I saw some in the dumpster in the back. I'm gonna go check it out." So it was a lot of old clothes people were dumping in the back. So I made them go to the back. We walked to the back of the facility, and I made them jump in the dumpster and start pulling out pants. I said, "So you're gonna need this stuff, fellas. Y'all don't have jobs." So by the time they get out of the dumpster, I let them both. The ladies trying to escort them in, and they won't go in. I get in the car and I burn out. They're running behind the truck. Daddy, no, don't leave us, don't leave us. So I spin the block.
I
I
love
spin
it.
the block and I come back and they are crying. They are dragging that and they're hugging each other. They're embracing each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I pull up and I said, so what are y'all doing? You said we all we got. 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 So it took me, they never had another fight like that again. But it took me to have to get into their head just to get into
Yeah.
their heart.
Right.
Just to get into their heart. Because the whole objective, what I was trying to get them to embrace was, guys, y'all gonna grow up. You're gonna need your brother. When everybody else will turn their back against you, your brother gonna be there. When everybody else, when it's time to move, whatever the case is, and you can't find nobody because everybody hate move, whatever the case, your brother gonna be right there. Y'all got. Just to get them to get that concept, whooping wasn't working. I had to do like Pastor Liv.
Story. Can
I had to do like you, Pastor Liv. I had to do with that creative discipline.
Yeah. Can I just say, like, the story of your mom, Pastor Jordan, is so heartfelt to me because I think what happens, I was just talking about this, the enemy got people tricked and they're forgetting that this is a spiritual fight. The Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but
That's right.
Spiritual principalities, evil wickedness, and things in high places. And what happens is that your mom used discernment. So she understood that at that time, it wasn't that time to whoop you, it was time to correct you.
Correct.
And what I'm seeing in the facility that I work at, my baby's innocence is being robbed. It's been stolen from me, through molestation, physical and verbal abuse. And you gotta know that this is spiritual. And I think what happens, parents get upset, they get frustrated, and they operate in the flesh. Especially if these old school parents, they feel like if you don't whoop them, then you're a soft parent or you don't love your child. And that's just not the case. You have to know that you have to preface this thing with a lot of prayer. And you got to ask God to give you sight beyond sight. We have parents turning their backs from children taking their lives. Suicide. Doesn't matter the race, white, black, Puerto Rican, Asian, it doesn't matter. They're taking their lives because they don't feel like they're not singing. Because we haven't asked for sight. So, and I think there's been a war raised from the generation. I deal with children 0 to 5, and right now I'm dealing with several cases, molestation, child abuse. It's heartbreaking, and you just gotta know it's spiritual. And so I think that's the part that we have to bring out to people.
Yeah, y'all heard it. There's that rod and staff model again.
Right. It's also a gap.
Go ahead.
In generations. As I'm sitting here listening, I think throughout with this panel, I'm about the oldest parent on here. And my parenting with my 90s children versus my parenting with my 2000 children is totally different.
Right.
The 90s, yes, I was that hard-nosed, this is what I say. If not, you getting popped right away. And don't question me, don't backtalk me, don't none of that.
Right.
If you do, we got problems. But when my girls came in the 2000s, and I'm in school and I'm teaching and I'm learning all these new theories of people who never had kids, but they tell you how to raise kids, and Piaget and all these folks about how you're supposed to communicate. It's all about talking to them. Now I have grown a softer child versus what I had in the 90s. My today's standard, my sons and children of the 90s can handle bumps and bruises of the world.
Right.
With no issue. They get slapped, they get hit, and they get up and they call me, man, Dad, dude, the world popped me today, but guess what? I'm back to moving. Them 2000 kids, let the world just graze them. Oh my God, the world just grazed me. Oh, I can't believe it. How can the world brush past me like that and not see that I'm standing here? You're not supposed to brush past people. It's a whole different. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? What? This is what the world does. Nope, the world ain't supposed to do that. And I don't know where this different psychology, I get it. It had to come in the midst of the parenting, because my parenting changed from the 2000s. I mean, from the 90s to the 2000s. And so with that, those of us who have kids in this newer era, especially Libby, like Jay said, God bless your ministry. A 10-year-old, if I had a 10-year-old today, my whole head would be white.
No, that makes you stronger parent and wiser and a stronger prayer.
I tell y'all what, I don't have a 10-year-old, but I got married again. So my bonus son, my baby boy, I got a 12-year-old, and my wife and I took on one of the other kids from the community, and he's 12 as well. So we got two 12-year-old boys.
Malfunctioning little twerp. This is all his fault.